I'm joined with Luke Norman from US Gold. Luke, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So let's start off talking about why you became chairman of a gold company. I assume that there's things about gold that you're drawn to if you chose to take on this role and work in this space. What's your high-level thesis? Why do you like gold?
Certainly. It was the late 90s and I watched the dot-com bubble unwind and I thought, you know what, there's going to be a whole bunch of transition back to solid assets. And since then learned a lot more about how the world and economies work, and I watch, I'm a Canadian by citizenship. I watch how governments work and I watch how they print money, and I think to myself, I should own a heck of a lot more gold. It's that simple.
So right now, you guys have an asset in the US, Wyoming, I believe.
Yes.
What can you tell us about it?
Okay, so unique is a word I use quite a bit, and it's simply not because it's just a word to throw out there. It is a very unique opportunity and project. So our copper gold porphyry, so 70% of the economics is in gold, 30% is in copper. Sits about 20 miles due west of the township of Cheyenne, Wyoming. So if I was going to take you to Cheyenne tomorrow, we'd land at Denver International Airport. In an hour and 15 we'd be in Cheyenne. Another 15 to 20 minutes would be at the project. So you could not get a better location for a project in the US. As I like to moniker it now, the right stuff, right place at the right time.
Okay, so let's get into that. What stage are you guys at in terms of development, in terms of, we'll say, permitting? Where does your project sit?
We have a fully permitted, shovel-ready project. So what that means is we have gone through 4 years of combination of permit process and engineering. So we have a pre-feasibility study that's about to be completed into a bankable feasibility study. That's happening right now as you and I speak. Over the next 3 months, I think we'll expect to have that bankable feasibility completed. In the interim, we received at the very end of November last year a final permit, which was an air quality permit from the Department of Environmental Qualities, Wyoming. We're on state ground, so we weren't stuck in this federal nexus, this bottleneck of bureaucracy that's out there in the US and out there in Canada right now trying to get these projects over the line. State of Wyoming, we were dealing with people in their office working hard to establish whether environmentally we were going to be impactful and then ultimately make a decision.
So what's the community support like then?
It's been tremendous. I was really shocked because when I first looked at the project, I thought, its location, it's really close to a state park. It's going to be a challenge. Fast forward to today, with us fully permitted now, I look back at it and now we recognize our open pit is going to be a source of water storage for the community, post-production, and a whole slew of things that are all positives around this project that ultimately add benefit to this park, add benefit to the community. And I think now, I look at a whole bunch of projects around North America, I'm thinking, well, I wonder where else that's the case, where people have just completely misconstrued, looked at mining as being a dirty industry, albeit it's a necessary industry. But long story short, we've had just tremendous local support.
So I imagine that you guys are going to have to raise some money via either equity or debt in order to get to production. Have you guys come out with how much you need, or do we got to wait for the feasibility study for that?
No. Well, the pre-feasibility study indicates just under $300 million for an all-in build. A lot of people scratch their heads and go, that sounds tremendously low for a 20,000 ton per day milling operation. But when you get deeper into the project and you understand the nuances, as I say, the uniqueness of this project, all our employees are going to sleep at home at night. We have a full township, just again 20 miles to our west, 120 odd thousand people who are in the resource industry. We're just stone's throw from the I-80 corridor, major rail and road networks. So it's ready to go. It's fully baked, ready to go. We are going to button down those final costs, and we will be heading into financing, and you asked about financing, of course, it's a different market than it was when I entered this marketplace in the late 90s. Now we're getting offered full debt, like come, we'll service you with debt just to buy your concentrate off you, or to have a stream or a royalty on the project. So we're exploring all sorts of different low dilution, low equity opportunities to finance the project. And why? Because we're all shareholders. Management's aligned with the shareholder.
How has that conversation evolved over the last couple of years? Because we see obviously gold has ripped, right? And I imagine you were starting to have these conversations when it was around $2,000 an ounce. Now we're sitting closer to $3,200 an ounce. Has that changed the conversations much?
Funnily enough, not entirely. I mean, you've not seen the saturation of capital flowing or inflows of capital coming into this sector. Which is fine, because when it does come, it's going to have a really tectonic effect on what's going on with these equities right now. But the thing that's affecting us the most, funnily enough, from a financial perspective, is we produce what's called a dry concentrate, or con. That's a combination of copper and gold. I think we're about 25% copper in the concentrate, 50 to 60 grams of gold, and I think 5 or 6 ounces of silver. The demand for those clean concentrates is off the charts because mine supply is low. So we look at the metals prices being high, but the reality is these mine supplies are extremely low, and I think that's going to continue to drive these prices higher. So the interest is stemming from a lack of source to materials. Both gold and copper, and I'm sure you're going to get to this, are critical minerals in the US now. Critical minerals, why? Why? Because the supply is a challenge.
You guys also have the Keystone project. What's the plan here?
The big baby. So Keystone is, of course, okay, so Copper King is fully permitted, ready to go into production, right? Keystone is actually what we floated the company with in the public markets with us at the get-go. So it is a district scale exploration opportunity that just sits a stone's throw away from the Cortez complex. Cortez, or Cortez Hills, is Barrick's now flagship complex. I think it comprises about 60 million ounces of gold and growing. Well, we just happen to have Cortez's little sister next door. Same geology, same everything about it that you could imagine, other than maybe a slightly higher signature of arsenic, which is indicative of big gold deposits in Nevada. So I could drone on about this for an hour. It's a wonderful project. At some point, a spin out.
Okay. So a little bit of upside there in terms of the share structure. I also got to ask you, you guys are a development stage gold company listed on the NASDAQ, which we're a Canadian focused, we'll say, stock market media company, and we cover a lot of mining companies.
Yep.
We don't see too many that go to the NASDAQ, which I'll be honest, we have a lot of conversations, and it sounds like it makes a lot of sense that you're kind of ahead of the curve here. Why the NASDAQ?
So, interesting story. So, a previous company that I was a co-founder of by the name of Gold Standard Ventures, and myself and the CEO, we ground our way through a listing at the Toronto Stock Exchange, $18 million market cap. We had great success in Nevada, exploration project, very similar to Keystone. It was called Railroad. As we continued to have success, our market cap grew. We got up to around $280, $300 million of market cap, and we decided to list or co-list the company on the New York Stock Exchange. Well, fast forward a few years, and our shareholder base was pretty much 90% US. Okay. So when I looked at US Gold Corp and pure US assets, I was like, why mix with the middleman? Just go straight senior listing. So the opportunity was offered to me. It was DataRam was the name of the company at the time. We merged US Gold Corp into DataRam. We took over their business and operations in on the NASDAQ, and ultimately we're a US listed, senior listed company. Now, we have a very different share structure or capital structure to what people are associated or used to, in the junior mining space too. You know, we have now just on around 14 million shares out versus 140 million, or as I like to joke, if we're on the Australian,
I was gonna
on the Australian Stock Exchange, we'd have 14 trillion. Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap it up with this question. If I got you guys on my watch list, or I am an investor and I'm trying to figure out what should I be expecting out of management over the next 12 months, what am I looking out for?
These are exciting times for us. So we're completing bankable feasibility right now. We're going to come to market with probably close to an all-in debt capital raise, I think, because none of us are interested in dilution. Hey, we'll take it when we have to, but we've already raised $50 million to get ourselves to this point stage today. You know, we have 15 million approximately in USD in treasury right now. So we're going to show not just that this bankable feasibility backs up our previous pre-feasibilities, but we're going to come with the capital to build it as well. And that's going to mean a big re-rate, and it's an 18-month build, and we're going to be a gold producer.
All right, well, I love what you guys are doing. It's always exciting when people actually build mines, which I don't think we see nearly enough of in this business. So I appreciate you sitting down and telling us about the story, and hopefully we can chat again as you go and get that big debt financing and build a mine.
Yes.
Thanks for doing this, Luke.
Thank you very much.